The honourable member for Lalor.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I rise today to speak on this MPI. And it is of great importance, especially to the people of my electorate of Lalor, because, Deputy Speaker, as with many measures in the Abbott government's budget of broken promises, when you add up the combined impact of the GP tax and the increase to medicine costs, when those numbers are crunched, yet again we see Lalor topping the charts. With the estimated cost to our community of over $52 million, $52 million taken out of our community and out of our local economy because it'll have to be spent on going to the doctor and paying for prescriptions. And our pain, Deputy Speaker, doesn't stop there, because we will be sorely hit by the $50 billion from hospitals and the scrapping of preventative health funding. And we are heartily sick of being top of the pops, heartily sick of projecting the compounding effects of this cruel budget on families. The truth is that our community keeps featuring because it has 60,000 families making their way in the world. In fact, in Lalor, we're a microcosm of the broader Australian community. So I speak today, Deputy Speaker, I speak for Lalor, but I speak also for middle and low-income Australians. When I think of the community of Lalor, I also think of other growth corridors who will surely be suffering in similar ways. I think of Cranbourne South in the seat of Flinders, and I think of Minister Hunt, and I wonder where he is today to speak on this MPI. I think of Pakenham in the seat of Macmillan. I think of Frankston in the seat of Dunkley, all held by Liberal members of this House in the state of Victoria, all in the top 40 in this week's charts. Given their members are not speaking out in this chamber, and one suspects not in the LNP caucus and not in Cabinet, I speak for them today in this MPI. I speak for Lalor, I speak for Australia, and I speak about their anger. I speak about the anger about the Prime Minister and the Treasurer promising before the election no cuts to health and no new taxes, but now smashing that promise. I speak of the anger of higher costs to visit the doctor and to buy needed medications, and about the results of that will have on people accessing the medical care in the primary sector that they need. In my home, someone I care deeply about has found himself making decisions about going to the doctor and about filling prescriptions because he has a large monthly bill for daily medications, and he's really considering it with these threatened increases. I can only imagine how this translates to the 10,000 pensioners in Lalor. I've heard, Deputy Speaker, from several people on the disability support pension due to chronic illness who have had very real fears about how they'll survive paying for prescriptions and paying more for prescriptions. And I hear Minister Dutton and those on the other side of the chamber consistently cry, Labor introduced the PBS co-payment, but deliberately omit that Labor also increased the pharmaceutical allowance to compensate pensioners, and that allowance was paid weekly. Every time the PPS co-payment rose, so did the pharmaceutical allowance. They failed to admit that it was Prime Minister Howard who broke that nexus in 1997. They omit the targeted and responsible savings Labor made, like the means testing of the private health insurance rebate. They admit that Labor made medicines cheaper by simplifying price disclosure. And, Deputy Speaker, it is little comfort to the people of Lalor that they will take this hit, that they will have their long-term health possibly compromised by reduced household budgets, by their capacity to pay. It is little comfort to them to know they will do this to fund a research fund that may find cures, but that will be useless to them if the universality of our healthcare system is smashed in the process. So, Deputy Speaker, we have smashed promises, smashed commitments. We will have, if the government continues to pursue its unhealthy agenda, smashed household budgets. We will have, in my electorate, smashed lives. Those opposite argue they have to do something. I say to them, through you, Deputy Speaker, you don't have to do this. You should not do this.